Welcome back. In this video, we are going to see what is static members. This is your second last topic in the first unit. In the static members, we have static member datas and we have static member functions. First, let us see what is static member data. So, static data members are members of the class and not of any object of the class. They are not contained inside any object. So I repeat, static data members are members of the class and not of any of the class, not of any object of the class. They only belongs to the class, but they does not belong to the object of the class. They are not contained inside the object. Something like virtual reality, virtually. So if you take class, they are there. But when you create objects, they are not there. So I know you'll be confused. Let us see a small example for this. So this is you have a class called account, and this is static member. I'm saying interest rate, which is of type float and which is static. So when you do this, think that I'm not writing static. So what happened? Interest rate is of type float. So the moment I say float, which is going to allocate 4 bytes of memory, but the moment I say which is of type static float, obviously which will not cause any memory will be allocated for this. So moreover, even if you create an object of the class called account, there will be no space, no memory allocated for this. This is because a static data member is not member of any object. So make it very clear, when you create an object of any class, the object is going to get space for every member of the class, every data member. But if it is static, there is no space for that. So what happened is, so because of this, we must not forget to write the statement to define a static member variable. We should define it separately, then only we will get space for this. So how we can do is, once it is done, so this is done inside the class static float interest rate. So you should write it again now. So interest rate belongs to a class called the account and float. Now what happens? Now the above statement is going to allocate memory for interest rate at the same time. So this is one short 2 bytes, which is going to allocate space for interest rate at the same time, which is going to initialize or which is going to set 0 to interest rate. Now, which is something like interest rate is equal to 0 by default. So if you want to do it explicitly, you could do that. Float account interest rate, which is equal to 4.5. So when you write this, the spaces will be allocated for you. The spaces will be allocated for the interest rate. So let us see a small program for this. So this we have a class called A, which is having 4 variables. This is integer takes integer takes 4 bytes. Character takes this is 4. Next one takes 1 byte, and in float takes 4 bytes. So what about yes? Again, this is float. X is 4 bytes, Y is 1 byte because this is character, Z is 4 bytes because this is float, S is float, but what it is static. So no space will be allocated for that within the class. And when I write this statement outside the class, float A, S belongs to a class called A, S belongs to a class called A. How do I do that? Using a scope resolution operator. So I'm going to initialize. Now the spaces will be allocated for a variable called S. But when you find the size of A, what is my A? A is my class. So when I do this, what will be the output, which is going to take only the size for X, Y and Z, which is 4 plus 1 plus 4 is 9. So this size of 4 bytes will not be counted in the account of A. I hope you understood this. Static data member can be of any type. This is another thing. See, we have another class called the account. So we have a variable called interest rate, which is float. We have another variable which is an array of characters, which can be of any type. But do not forget to define this. When you define this only, spaces will be allocated for this. So please remember this statement. So when you do this, nothing is going to happen. Even if you create an object of the class account, there is no space will be allocated for this. Uh, Initializing integral static data members within the class itself. If you want, you can initialize within the class itself. Look at this, the difference between the previous account class and this class. So we have a static member called name length, which is 30. Here also we have the same. It was interest rate, and within the class only we have initialize. But look at other one, which is name of type character. So this cannot be initialized within the class. Only integral static data members, integers, can be initialized. So if you want to, but even if you initialize the integral members, no spaces will be allocated unless until you define them outside the class. See, you have initialized and gave some values, but still no spaces for that unless until you define them. So you have defined them here. And non-integral static data members should be initialized outside the class. Should be done over here. This the meaning is you cannot write this statement over here. Here you can only declare value initialization should be done outside the class. So we must notice that the statement says the static data member that has been initialized inside the class must be still defined outside the class to allocate memory for it. Once the initial value has been supplied within the class, the static data member must not be re-initialized when it is defined. You got it? So we have initialized, and this is a place we are going to define it. When you define it, you don't re-initialize. That means you gave it as 30 here, and when you define this, you don't make the changes in this value. You are not supposed to do it. So non-integral static data members cannot be initialized within the class. I repeat, only integer values can be initialized. So something like, you are writing a name character which is equal to some values, which is going to give an error, because so what is this? This is a not integer, which is character. So character static members cannot be initialized inside the class. This should be done outside the class. So your program is very serious about that. So this is about static members. Same way you can have static member functions. The sole purpose of this function is to access or modify static data members of the class. What we have seen is static data members. Now we are going to see what is static member functions. Member functions sole job is to modify its value. Let us see a small example for this. So this is my static data member. This is my static member function. It is. Look at this. It's a member function. And what it does is, so this is a place I'm going to define it, which is going to allocate space for this, and this is a place I'm going to define my my member function set interest. Look at this, set interest, and inside this I'm going to change the value of my interest rate. Interest rate is equal to P. Here I initialized it as 4.5. Here I'm going to change the values. So this is the use of a static member function. So static member function can access only static data members of the class. So please remember that. Static member function can access only static data members of the class. So this is all about static data members and static member functions. Thank you.